My mom invited me to a quick dinner with family. She pointed to the back table and said I could sit there. They needed space for the real group. I nodded and slipped my card to the server. 20 minutes later, my dad shouted, "Why is it over $1,700? My mother has two families, the one she shows off and the one she hides. I'm the one she hides. I was born when my mom was 19. She wasn't ready for a kid. She told me that constantly growing up. She married my dad when I was 2. He adopted me legally but never treated me like his own. When I was 6, they had my brother Kevin. When I was 8, they had my sister Allison. That's when I became invisible. Kevin and Allison were the real children. I was the mistake from before, the reminder of a time my mother wanted to forget. Growing up, they got birthday parties with themes and guests and cakes. I got a card with $20 if my mom remembered. They got new clothes every school year. I got hand-me-downs from cousins. They went on family vacations. I stayed with my grandmother because there wasn't room in the car. I moved out at 18, worked 2 jobs through community college, transferred to a state school, got a degree in accounting, built a career, bought my own apartment. I did everything alone because I had no choice. I'm 32 now. Kevin is 26 and still lives at home. Allison is 24 and works part-time at a boutique while my parents pay her rent. They never worked for anything. They never had to. Last month, my mother called out of nowhere. She said she wanted to have dinner. A quick family thing. Nothing fancy. She said it would mean a lot to her if I came. I was suspicious. She hadn't called me in 8 months, but some stupid part of me still wanted her approval. Still hoped maybe things had changed. I said yes. She told me the restaurant name and time. I showed up 10 minutes early. The place was nice. White tablecloths, candles, not cheap. I found my mother near the front with my father, Kevin, Allison, and about 12 other people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people I barely knew. My mother saw me and walked over. Her smile was tight. "Oh good, you're here." She grabbed my arm and pointed to a small table in the back corner, near the kitchen. "You can sit there. We need space for the real group." I stared at her. "What? It's just easier this way. You don't really know anyone here anyway. We'll come say hi later." She walked away before I could respond. I stood there for a moment, looking at the big table full of family laughing and talking, looking at the small table in the corner with one chair. Then something clicked. I smiled. I walked to the small table and sat down. A server came over. I ordered a drink. While I waited, I watched the big table. They ordered appetizers, lots of them. Shrimp cocktails, crab cakes, fancy salads, then entrees, steaks, lobster, wine bottles that cost more than my first car payment. Nobody looked at me once. I finished my drink and ordered another. Then I called the server over. I handed her my credit card. "I want to open a tab for that table over there." She looked confused but took the card. An hour passed. They kept ordering. Desserts now, more wine. My mother was laughing at something my father said. Kevin was showing off pictures on his phone. Allison was taking selfies with cousins. I was invisible, just like always. When the server brought my check for the 2 drinks, I signed it. Then I walked over to the host stand. I pointed at the big table. "That group over there. The older man in the blue shirt is named Richard." I gave his full name. When they asked for the bill, charge everything to his name. The host looked uncertain. I handed her a $50 tip. She nodded. I walked out the front door. I sat in my car in the parking lot and waited. 20 minutes later, my phone started buzzing. First a text from my mother. "Where did you go?" Then another. "The bill is wrong. They're saying you opened a tab." Then a call from my father. I answered. His voice was loud. "Why is this bill over $1,700? I leaned back in my seat. "I don't know, Dad. I was sitting at the back table, by myself, like Mom told me to. I didn't order anything from your table." He sputtered. "But you gave them your card." I gave them my card for my drinks. 2 cocktails, $34 total. Whatever else is on that bill came from the real group. Silence. "You invited me to a family dinner and made me sit alone in the corner. You didn't introduce me to anyone. Mom literally said she needed space for the real group. I was never part of this family. You made that clear my entire life. I just finally accepted it." I hung up. The messages kept coming for days. My mother called me ungrateful. Kevin said I was pathetic. My father sent a long email about how I ruined his reputation at his favorite restaurant. I didn't respond to any of them. Last week, my grandmother called, the only one who ever treated me like family. She said she was proud of me for walking away. She said my mother had been wrong my whole life. I cried for the first time in years. I spent 32 years sitting at the back table hoping someone would notice me. Now I'm done hoping. They can pay their own bills from now on. That $1,700 dinner was the cheapest lesson they ever learned.
My mom forgot to save dessert for my son at Thanksgiving. She said he didn't earn it. My sister's kids got seconds. I helped my son with his coat, and we left. At 10:13 p.m., Dad texted about the mortgage. I didn't argue. My son Oliver was 6 years old and had autism. He was the kindest, smartest kid I'd ever known. He could name every dinosaur that ever existed and remembered birthdays better than any adult. He also had meltdowns sometimes when things got too loud or too crowded. My family knew this. They just didn't care. My sister Wendy had 3 kids who could do no wrong. They screamed at the table, threw food, and broke things without consequences. My parents laughed it off and called them spirited. When Oliver covered his ears because the noise was too much, my mother called him difficult. When he needed a quiet break in another room, my father said he was being antisocial. I stopped defending him out loud years ago. It never changed anything. This Thanksgiving, I almost didn't go. But Oliver had been asking about Grandma's pumpkin pie for weeks. He loved it more than anything. I promised him we'd get a slice. We arrived at noon. By 12:15, Wendy's kids had already knocked over a lamp and spilled juice on the carpet. My mom cleaned it up while laughing about how energetic they were. Oliver sat quietly in the corner reading a book about volcanoes. Nobody said hello to him. During dinner, the noise got overwhelming. Wendy's kids were yelling across the table, fighting over rolls, banging their forks. Oliver started rocking in his seat, a sign I knew meant he was struggling. I leaned over and whispered, "Do you need a break?" He nodded. I took him to the guest room and let him sit with his book for 20 minutes. When we came back, my mother gave me a look. He missed most of dinner. He needed quiet. It was too loud. She rolled her eyes. Wendy's kids handled it just fine. I didn't respond. After dinner, everyone moved to the living room for dessert. My mom brought out the pumpkin pie, Oliver's favorite. His eyes lit up. He'd been waiting for this all day. Wendy's kids grabbed their slices first, then seconds, then thirds. By the time I walked Oliver over to the dessert table, the pie tin was empty. "Mom, where's Oliver's slice? I told you to save him one." She didn't even look at me. There wasn't enough. The kids were hungry. "You made 2 pies. There were 14 slices." "Well, he wasn't here when we served it. He was off hiding in the bedroom." Oliver tugged on my sleeve. "It's okay, Mom. I'm not hungry anymore." But I saw his face. He was crushed. I turned to my mother. "You saved nothing for him?" "Nothing?" She crossed her arms. "He didn't earn dessert after the way he acted, disappearing in the middle of a family meal. It's rude. He's 6. He has autism. He needed a break from the noise your other grandchildren were making. Don't use that as an excuse." Wendy's kids behaved just fine. I looked at Wendy, who was scrolling on her phone and ignoring the whole conversation. Her youngest had pie smeared across his face and was currently wiping his hands on the couch. "Right," I said quietly. "They're perfect." I walked over to Oliver and helped him put on his coat. My dad looked up from the TV. "Where are you going?" "We haven't done the family photo yet. We're leaving." Mom stood up. "You're being ridiculous. It's just pie." I zipped Oliver's jacket and took his hand. "It's never just pie. It's everything. Every single time he's treated like he doesn't matter, and I'm done pretending that's okay." We drove home in silence. Oliver fell asleep in the back seat clutching his dinosaur book. I cried the whole way. At 10:13 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Dad. "Don't forget to transfer the mortgage payment tomorrow. I stared at the message. For 4 years, I'd been paying my parents' mortgage, $1,800 a month. They'd fallen behind after Dad got laid off, and I stepped in without hesitation. They never told anyone, not Wendy, not the extended family. To everyone else, they were doing fine. Only I knew the truth. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just typed back, no. He called immediately. I didn't answer. He called again. I let it ring. The next morning, my mom sent a long text about how I was tearing the family apart over a piece of pie. She said I was too sensitive. She said Oliver needed to learn that the world wouldn't cater to him. She said I owed them an apology. I sent one message back. I've been paying your mortgage for 4 years. $86,400 total. You couldn't save my son a slice of pie. We're done. My phone exploded. 19 missed calls from mom, 22 from dad, a voicemail from Wendy saying I was being selfish and that I was hurting our parents over nothing. I blocked all 3 numbers. A week later, I got a letter from my father. He said they were going to lose the house. He said I was punishing them for one mistake. He asked if we could talk like adults. I wrote back one line. Oliver didn't earn dessert. You didn't earn my help. I never sent another dollar. Last Christmas, Oliver and I stayed home. We made our own pumpkin pie from scratch. He helped me measure the ingredients and watched through the oven window while it baked. When it was ready, I gave him the first slice. This is the best pie ever, he said with a full mouth. Yeah, I said, it is. Some families treat love like a reward for good behavior. I learned that love should never have conditions. Oliver taught me that, and I'll spend the rest of my life making sure he knows he's always enough.